Hello, everybody. Let's talk about the second book of Samuel, chapter 8, verse 2, and the second book of Kings, chapter 3, verse 23. And he smote Moab. So I've been discussing this subject and treating Moab as a symbolic representation of witches, seed, desires, goals, things that we want to achieve. In that context, I've been analyzing this. So we have here, and he smote Moab. Who was he? That was David. And measured them with a line, casting them down to the ground. You cast seeds down to the ground. You don't cast seeds into the fire or into the air, into the water. You cast them to the ground. That's what you do with the seeds, right? And that was the Moabite. Even with 2 lines measure he to put to death, and with 1 full line to keep alive. So the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts. So in the context of this analogy with the seeds are cast to the ground, then they are chosen, and finally they grow and bring fruit forth. Then we go to the passage. How did it come to pass? How was that so easy? How is it that David was able to conquer the Moabites and subdue them in such a way, such a humiliating way, that they were just lying down on the ground, and he was able to even measure with a line, with a cord, and put the first 2 measurements to death and keep the third alive? How was it that possible? So then we have to go into the second book of Kings, verse 3, chapter 3, 33. And here's what we see. And they said, "This is blood. The kings are surely slain, and they have smitten one another. Now therefore, Moab to the spoil." What happened here was, before they consulted from Elisha, a prophet, what to do, because there was like an alliance of kings who allied with David, and they were walking towards the Moabites, but they were carrying with them a lot of cattle, and there was no water. They were thirsty. And David and his allies were thirsty. So they inquired from the prophet Elisha, was his name if I'm not mistaken. And the prophet said that they should dig ditches and they would be filled with water. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that they were aware of the enemy. They were aware of, in the context of this psychological realm, they were aware of the things they wanted to achieve. They were aware of their goals, their desires, their objectives in life. But they have to survive, they have to pay the bills. They have to get water. So the cattle will drink water and they will survive at least. So that was the main or sole purpose of digging the ditches. They had to dig ditches because they needed the water to drink. That was not like, they were not attempting anything different with that water. It's not like the water was a weapon to destroy the Moabites, or they were not focused on something specifically to conquer the Moabites. At that specific moment, the reason why they dig the ditch is because they needed the water. And what happened is that action had a reaction, unexpected reaction, a collateral reaction. The Moabites, when they saw that, they thought like, oh my God, that's blood. They must have killed each other. Let's go down and get the, how they say, this is blood. The kings are surely slain. And they have smitten one another. Now therefore, Moab to the spoil. So they went down to the spoil, and what happened? They actually were involuntarily delivering themselves onto the hands of David and the kings. So that is like to say that David and the kings actually attracted the Moabs, the desires, the wishes, their ambitions, without having to go after them. They did something completely different. Their purpose was completely different. And the outcome was actually the desired outcome. They wanted that. But at that moment, they weren't really consciously digging the ditches to, it was not like a trap. They never thought that way. It was completely different. They just wanted to pay the bills, they just wanted to survive. And so that leads me to another situation which I witnessed recently. It was a girl, she started a channel, just a teenager from Mexico, I believe. Her name is Think. Many people are talking about her. And I honestly think that she is legit in the sense that she started a channel and her main purpose was to grow. She wanted to set up a channel on YouTube because she wanted to grow and to measure her growth, document it, and all of a sudden, after 2 3 weeks, she got over 40,000 subscribers. And a lot of people were thinking that was fake, that was maybe it was a company behind her. And well, everything's possible, but I truly believe that that was something similar to what happened to David and his allies. They were doing something with one purpose in mind, with one objective, and the outcome was completely convenient, different, and desired, but it was not the point at the moment. So that's also, yeah, leads me to think that sometimes we should ask ourselves in life, why do we do certain things? It is good to have the goals well defined, know what we want to achieve, to obtain. But whenever we get down to business to do the things that we have to do on a day to day, on a daily basis, we have to also know that what's the purpose of that, what's the intention. And yeah, we have to do things like work. Sometimes the job might be boring, but if we can figure out why we're doing what we're doing, and if we know that we are extracting some benefit of it, then probably we focus on that benefit. And if at the back of our mind the goal, the final goal is clear defined, we might end up attracting that into our life. I think it's also important to know by whom were the Moabites conquered, and it was David. And what does his name mean? Beloved. So that gives us also an indication of the importance of self-love, like knowing or being aware that we deserve to conquer the Moabites. That is also a very important thing to mention. It's more like cultivating that feeling of deserving, like, yes, I deserve